The stars outside the viewport looked like frozen sparks in an endless ocean of night. Commander Elias Grant stood at the bridge of the Horizon Dawn, his reflection staring back from the glass, a tired man wrapped in metal and duty. The hum of the ship's engines was steady, calm, almost like a heartbeat. Across the deck, Lieutenant Myra Keon stood in her crimson exosuit, motionless as always. Her faceplate glowed with soft blue light, hiding her expression. She never removed that suit, not even when she ate, rested, or repaired systems. To everyone aboard, she was a mystery sealed inside armor. 2 weeks had passed since the Kronos incident, where Mira had single-handedly stopped an alien boarding party by venting half the corridor into space. Her courage had saved the ship, but her secret, the one about never removing her suit, had become the crew's most whispered curiosity. Elias turned toward her. "Lieutenant, status report." "Power core stable, sir," Mira's filtered voice replied. "But we're picking up strange readings from the nearby sector. Electromagnetic distortions. Possibly a shipwreck." Elias frowned. "Coordinates. Sector 7 AZ, about 0.3 light minutes out." The commander straightened. "Could be survivors. Set a course." The Horizon Dawn shuddered gently as its engines flared to life, gliding through space toward the unknown signal. The ship's AI, a calm female voice named Iris, spoke through the comm. "Warning. Radiation levels ahead exceed safe parameters. Recommend minimal exposure." Mira's head tilted slightly. "I'll go in first, sir. My suit can handle the radiation." Elias shook his head. "You've done enough solo missions, Lieutenant. We'll go together." Her voice softened through the speaker. "With respect, sir, if the readings spike, your body armor won't hold. Mine will." It's the thing about Myra, logical, direct, and distant. She never argued emotionally, never raised her voice. Sometimes Elias wondered if there was even a human under that helmet, or just a machine with her voice. Still, he couldn't deny her efficiency. She'd saved lives countless times. "Fine," Elias finally said, "but I'll be in comm range. Don't take risks." 15 minutes later, Myra was out in the void, a small, red figure floating toward the wreckage of a massive derelict. The ship looked ancient, its hull torn apart by time and battle. Strange symbols glowed faintly on its side. Not human. Not any known species. Elias watched through the external camera feeds. "I'm seeing it too, Lieutenant. What do you make of those markings?" Mira rotated slowly, her thrusters stabilizing her near a breach. "Unknown language. But the structure. It's old. Pre-war era. Maybe older." She extended a scanner from her wrist. The readings flickered. "Sir, this material. It's not reacting like metal. It's organic." "Organic." Elias leaned closer to the display. "You mean alive?" "Not alive," Mira corrected, "but grown. Like coral. Or bone." Static crackled through the comms. Myra, signals dropping. "You're at the edge of range." "I'll go a bit further," she said calmly. "Just enough to get a data sample." Elias hesitated, his instincts tightening. "Make it quick." Myra floated into the breach. Inside, the ship's corridors were dark, curved, almost rib-like. Strange energy pulsed faintly through the walls, making the place feel like the inside of a sleeping creature. Her helmet light scanned every inch. She recorded everything until something flickered at the edge of her vision. "Movement, Commander," she said softly. "I think something's still here." Elias's heart skipped. "Return now, Lieutenant." "That's an order." Before she could answer, a surge of energy rippled through the wreckage. The camera feed blinked, static, then darkness. "Myra, respond." Elias shouted, "Silence." For 7 long seconds, there was nothing. Then her voice came back, shaky, filtered through static. "Sir, I found a stasis pod. It's still active." "A pod. Human or alien?" "Human." That word froze Elias. "Out here, that was impossible." "Bring it in," he said quickly. "We'll analyze it aboard." The airlock hissed open as Mira floated back inside, carrying a small pod in her arms. Frost clung to its sides, and faintly through the glass, the outline of a human woman could be seen. Dr. Kira Lawson, the ship's medical officer, gasped when she saw it. "Is she alive?" "Minimal readings," Myra replied, "but she's in cryosleep. Whoever she is, she's been here a long time." Elias stepped closer, studying the frozen figure. She looked peaceful, but ancient. Her suit, though partly damaged, bore an insignia he recognized, the Genesis program. That name hadn't been heard in over a century. It was one of Earth's first failed deep space colonization missions. Every ship in that program had been lost. "Get her to medbay," Elias ordered. Now, as the pod was wheeled away, Mira stayed behind, silent. Elias noticed something strange. Her suit's power readings were fluctuating. "Lieutenant, are you all right?" he asked. "Yes, sir," she replied quickly. "Just interference from the wreckage. I'll run diagnostics." He frowned, but let it go. Still, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Later that night, when the bridge lights dimmed and the crew rested, Mira sat alone in the equipment bay. Her helmet visor reflected the blinking lights around her. Slowly, she lifted her armored hand and pressed it against her chest plate. A faint crack appeared near the shoulder joint, leaking dim blue light. She sealed it fast, but not before a small whisper escaped. Almost like a sigh, her breathing trembled. Inside that suit, she wasn't just hiding flesh. She was hiding truth. The next morning, alarms blared across the horizon dawn. Iris's voice echoed through every speaker. "Commander, the woman from the cryopod is awake." Elias rushed to the medbay, Mira following behind him. The pod was open, mist spilling across the floor. The woman inside, pale, thin, eyes glowing faintly blue, sat up slowly. Her first words chilled the room. "Where am I? Which century is this?" Elias exchanged a look with Dr. Lawson. "You're on the horizon, Dawn. Earthfleet? It's the year 2479. The woman blinked, confused. Then, it worked. The experiment worked. "What experiment?" Elias asked. She turned her glowing eyes toward Mira, still standing silent in her crimson armor. "You," the woman whispered. "You're one of us." Everyone froze. Elias looked from the woman to Mira. "What does she mean, Lieutenant?" Mira didn't answer. The lights flickered. The power fluctuated. For a moment, her suit's helmet flickered, showing a glimpse beneath a pale face, eyes glowing faintly blue, just like the woman in the pod. The medbay was silent, except for the soft beeping of machines and the slow hum of the ship's engines. Everyone stared at the woman who had just awakened from the stasis pod. Her glowing blue eyes were calm, but filled with something ancient, something that made the air feel heavy. Commander Elias Grant stood still, trying to find the right words. "Who are you?" he finally asked. The woman looked around the room before answering. "My name is Dr. Saraphene Veil. I was part of the Genesis program. We were the first humans sent beyond the outer colonies." Dr. Lawson's eyes widened. "But that mission vanished more than 100 years ago." Saraphene gave a faint smile. "We didn't vanish. We evolved." Her gaze turned toward Myra, the silent figure in the red armor. "And she's proof of that." Elias's jaw tightened. "Lieutenant Keon, what is she talking about?" Mira didn't move. Her faceplate reflected the white lights above, hiding her expression. "Sir," she said softly, "permission to speak privately?" Elias nodded slowly. "Fine. Bridge office, 5 minutes." As Mira left, Seraphine's voice followed her. "You can't hide from what you are forever, my child." The commander's private office, the walls vibrated softly from the ship's engines. Elias leaned against his desk, arms crossed. Myra stood before him, still and quiet. "Start talking," he said firmly. There was a pause before she spoke. "Commander, the Genesis program wasn't only about colonization. It was about survival. They experimented on volunteers to create humans who could live in any environment. Radiation, vacuum, deep cold." Elias frowned. "Modified humans. Yes, she said. But the program was shut down when the first generation started. Changing their bodies couldn't handle open atmosphere anymore. They needed containment suits to survive. Ilias's eyes widened. You're one of them, Ira nodded slowly. I was born centuries after the program ended. The last surviving generation built a hidden colony. We lived underground, away from normal humans. Our bodies evolved differently. I joined the fleet under false records. The suit hides what I am. He exhaled, trying to process her words. So, when you said you can't take off your suit? She looked away. I wasn't exaggerating. If I remove it, I'll die. My body can't handle open air. Elias rubbed his forehead. And now this Dr. Veil, she was the scientist behind it all. Yes, and if she's awake again, she may try to finish what she started. Back in the medbay, Dr. Saraphene Veil sat calmly on the medical bed, her eyes scanning every detail of the ship. Dr. Lawson kept her under observation, but it was clear Saraphene wasn't an ordinary human anymore. Her skin shimmered faintly like there was light moving under it. When Elias entered, she smiled faintly. Commander Grant, your ship is impressive. Earth fleet has come a long way. Save the compliments, Elias said flatly. You said you evolved. What does that mean exactly? Saraphene tilted her head. It means humanity succeeded. We created a new form, humans who could survive the stars without ships or air. But Earth wasn't ready for them. They called us monsters. So you made people like Myra, Elias said. Saraphene smiled softly. She is more than human, Commander. She is the next step. Elias's voice hardened. She's my officer, and she's not your experiment. Saraphene's smile didn't fade. You'll understand soon. My stasis pod wasn't drifting by accident. It was waiting. The others will follow. Others? Elias repeated, alarmed. But before she could answer, the ship shook violently. The lights flickered, alarms blared, and Iris, the ship's AI, spoke in a sharp tone. Warning. Multiple warp signatures detected. Unidentified vessels approaching? Elias rushed to the intercom. Bridge, report. Commander, 5 ships just appeared from subspace. They're not in our database, came the reply. He turned to Saraphene. Are they yours? She smiled again, this time wider. They came for me. The bridge filled with tension as the unknown ships closed in. They were unlike anything in the fleet's records, dark. Skeletal designs with faint blue lines pulsing along their hulls. Elias stood at the center of the command deck. Shields up. Prepare to maneuver. Mira took her station beside him. Her voice was calm. Commander, their energy readings match my suit's core signature. They're Genesis ships. Elias clenched his fists. They're after her. Maybe after you too. Yes, she said quietly. They think I belong with them. The communication console blinked in incoming transmission. Elias nodded to the officer. Put it through. The main screen lit up, showing a figure in a similar suit to Mira's, but older. The armor black and marked with glowing blue veins. This is Captain Rowe of the Genesis fleet, the figure said. Return Dr. Saraphene Veil and subject Keon immediately. They are property of the Genesis Continuum. Elias's jaw tightened. She's not your property. You don't understand, Commander, the voice replied coldly. They are not human. They are prototypes. Dangerous, unstable. Return them, or your ship will be destroyed. The screen went dark. Elias turned to Mira. Is that true? Are you dangerous? She hesitated. If my containment fails? Maybe. But I would never harm the crew. He believed her. He had seen her risk her life to save others too many times. Elias took a deep breath. Then we fight. The Genesis ships opened fire first. Blue energy beams streaked across the void, hammering against the Horizon Dawn's shields. The ship shook, warning lights flashing red. Return fire. Elias ordered. Laser batteries roared to life, striking back at the attackers. Explosions bloomed across the enemy's hulls, but their armor seemed to regenerate. Iris, Elias barked, analyze their defenses. They are using self-repairing bioalloy plating. Standard weapons will be ineffective. Elias looked at Myra. Suggestions? She turned toward him, her eyes glowing faintly through the helmet. Their armor regenerates because it's alive. We need to overload it, not destroy it. If I link my suit's core to the main cannon, I can amplify the charge. That could kill you. I know, she said calmly, but it might save the ship. Elias wanted to refuse, but time was running out. The shields were collapsing fast. Do it, he said finally. Mira sprinted down the corridor toward the power deck. Sparks flew from damaged systems as the ship shuddered under fire. She reached the main cannon control, removed a cable from her arm, and connected it to the energy conduit. Her suit glowed brighter and brighter until her entire body was surrounded by light. Commander, she said through the comms. Charging the beam now. Ready when you are, Elias replied. Outside, the Genesis ships charged their weapons for a final strike. Mira's voice was calm but distant. Tell the crew to brace. The light reached its peak. She screamed not in pain but in effort, and released the energy. A blinding beam shot from the horizon dawn, slicing through space like lightning. It hit the lead Genesis ship, and for a moment, everything went silent. Then the enemy fleet exploded in a burst of blue-white light. Vanishing into dust, the bridge erupted in cheers, but Elias didn't join. His eyes were fixed on the power readings. Mira. Report. Silence. He rushed down to the power deck. Smoke filled the corridor. When he reached the control room, he saw her lying motionless on the floor. Her red armor cracked, dim lights fading. He knelt beside her. Mira, stay with me. Her visor flickered weakly. Did we win? Elias smiled sadly. Yeah, you did it. Her voice grew faint. Good then. It was worth it. Her lights went out. Hours later, the horizon dawn drifted quietly among the stars. The crew repaired systems, while Dr. Lawson checked the medbay again, but Saraphene Veil was gone. Her bed was empty. Elias stood alone on the bridge, staring at the empty chair beside him. He clenched his fist. I'll find her, and I'll bring Mira back. Outside, far beyond the ship's sensors. A faint red light drifted through the void. Myra's suit, slowly reactivating, drawn toward something unseen. And in the darkness, Dr. Saraphene Veil watched from a distant vessel, whispering she's waking up. The true Genesis begins now. Bore scars from the recent battle, scorched hull plates, flickering lights, and systems still under repair. Inside, the crew worked tirelessly, but the mood was heavy. Commander Elias Grant stood alone in the bridge, staring at the empty pilot seat beside him. That was where Mira used to sit. Her absence felt like a wound that refused to heal every night since the battle. He replayed the moment she had connected her suit to the main cannon, the flash of light, the explosion, and her last words, it was worth it. He wanted to believe she was still out there, but deep down, even he wasn't sure. Far away, in the ruins of a forgotten station orbiting a dead moon, red light pulsed faintly in the dark. A figure lay motionless on the floor, her armor cracked. The glow within flickering weakly. Mira. Keon was alive, barely. The blast from the Genesis ships had thrown her light years away, and her suit had gone into full stasis mode to preserve what was left of her. Inside the helmet, her eyes opened slowly. Blue light flickered in her pupils. Her voice came out as a whisper. Where am I? The AI within her suit responded faintly. System reboot at 12%. Environmental stability low. Suggest immediate power source. The station was dark, full of floating debris and broken machines. A single red emergency light blinked every few seconds. She tried to stand, but her limbs were weak. Sparks flickered from her armor. Still, she forced herself up. One step at a time. Her mission wasn't over. She had to get back to the horizon dawn, back aboard the ship. Elias wasn't resting either. Dr. Lawson entered the bridge, holding a data pad. Commander, I think I found something, she said. We traced the energy burst from Mira's last attack. There's a small radiation trail, faint, but still detectable. It leads toward the outer rim. Elias turned sharply. You're saying she might be alive? Lawson nodded. If her suit protected her, yes. The trail's weak, but it's recent, maybe a few days old. Elias didn't hesitate. Set course immediately. The bridge crew looked at him in surprise. Sir, our engines are still damaged. We'll need at least 8 hours to stabilize the drive. Then do it in 4, he said firmly. We're not leaving her out there. Meanwhile, Mira struggled to move through the derelict station. Every step was slow, painful. She found a console and forced it open. Her suit's interface linked to it with a click. The screens flickered on, showing data in old human code, but not fleet code. Genesis code. Her chest tightened as she realized what this place was. Hidden outpost of the Genesis program. Then she heard footsteps. A door opened, and a shadow moved inside. Mira turned quickly, her arm cannon charging automatically. Easy, said a calm voice. Out of the dark stepped Dr. Saraphene Veil, glowing faintly in the dim light. She looked untouched, her expression soft but unreadable. Mira's voice hardened. You left the ship. Had to, Saraphene said gently. They wouldn't understand. But you do. What do you want from me? Saraphene walked closer, her glowing eyes reflecting in Mira's visor. You're the last of your kind, Mira. The perfect fusion of human and evolved design. I created your ancestors. You're the proof that humanity can survive anywhere. But to truly live, you must let go of that suit. Mira took a step back. You know, I can't. Without it, I'll die. Saraphene smiled sadly. No, child. Without it, you'll be free. She extended her hand. Come with me. I can help you awaken your true form. Arez's voice trembled slightly. You call it freedom. I call it losing who I am. The room fell silent. Then the sound of engines echoed from outside, faint at first, and growing louder. Elias had arrived. The Horizon Dawn dropped out of warp above the dead moon. The ship's sensors picked up a faint power signature. Elias gripped the armrest. She's there. I know it. Iris, he ordered. Scan the surface for life signs. 2 detected, Commander. One matches Lieutenant Keon's biosignature. The other. Unknown, but similar. Prepare a landing party, Elias said. We're going down. The shuttle touched down on the cracked landing platform. Elias stepped out first, wearing his combat armor, followed by 2 security officers. The air was thin and cold. Inside the structure, faint lights flickered. He found them standing face to face, Mira in her damaged suit, and Dr. Saraphene Veil, glowing faintly with energy. Mira, he called out. She turned. Sir. Her voice was weak, but steady. Saraphene's eyes narrowed. Commander Grant. Always interfering. Elias raised his weapon. Step away from her. Saraphene didn't move. You can't stop evolution, Commander. The Genesis fleet is coming. A new age is rising, one where humans won't need ships or suits. You should be proud. I'll be proud when my crew is safe, Elias said coldly. Then Saraphene lifted her hands. Blue energy crackled between her fingers, lighting up the dark. Then survive this. She whispered. The ground shook as waves of energy surged through the station. Machinery came alive, and the old walls began to glow. Hidden generators roared to life, forming a massive sphere of light above them. A Genesis reactor. Elias shouted, Everyone out. It's going to blow. Mira looked up, realizing what Saraphene had done. The reactor was unstable. It would destroy the moon and everything nearby. But Saraphene wasn't trying to kill them. She was trying to wake something. Mira grabbed Elias's arm. We have to stop her. How? My suit can absorb the core's output, but I'll have to connect directly. Elias's eyes widened. That could kill you. She looked at him quietly. You said once humans fight for each other. That's what makes us different from her. Before he could stop her, Mira ran toward the pulsing core. She ripped a damaged cable from her arm and plunged it into the glowing. Energy light exploded across the room. Her entire body began to glow, the red armor shifting to pure white. Her voice echoed through the coms, diverting the overload. Now. Saraphene screamed as the light engulfed her. You fool. You can't contain it. But Mira did. The light kept growing until the station shook apart. Breaking into fragments that floated into space, Ilias's shuttle lifted off. Just as the explosion erupted behind them, for a moment, it looked like a supernova, a brilliant bloom of red and blue light that lit the stars. Hours later, Horizon Dawn floated quietly again. The crew worked silently, repairing systems and recovering debris. In the medbay, Elias stared at a small, charred piece of Myra's armor. All that was found, Dr. Lawson placed a hand on his shoulder. We scanned the area 3 times. No sign of her. Elias nodded slowly. She saved us again. He looked out the viewport. She was human. More than any of us. But far away, beyond the wreckage. Something drifted through the light. A faint figure, glowing softly, wrapped in new. White armor moved gracefully through the void without thrusters or air. Her voice spoke softly to herself. Still here? Her systems reported new readings. No containment breach, no oxygen needed. Her body was stable. She realized the truth. Saraphene had been right about one thing. She didn't need the suit anymore. She had become it. Mira looked toward the stars, where the horizon dawn glimmered faintly in the distance. A smile touched her lips. "I'll find my way home," she whispered. "Humans always do." She turned and flew into the starlight, leaving behind the ruins of the Genesis program and beginning a new legend.